Folks, thanks for coming out here on this beautiful summer day. I want to just recognize a few of the individuals behind me. Allison Galdorisi, representative from the New Dorp Beach Civic. Michele, Belloli, representative from the Midland Beach Civic. Joe McAllister, president of South Beach Civic, as well as Roe McAllister. So we are here today to call attention to something that you're not seeing in the news nearly as much as you should, and that is FEMA's proposed risk rating 2.0 and the devastating impacts it will have not only on Staten Island, but on coastal communities throughout the United States of America. You see, in April of next year, FEMA is going to roll out a program that will fundamentally change how flood insurance is managed nationwide. Then 6 months after announcing these new prices, all single-family homes across the country are going to have to pay these new rates. Hard-working family members right here on Staten Island are going to only have a few months to make potentially life-changing decisions in response to a decision that was made behind closed doors by faceless bureaucrats who don't care at all, bureaucrats who are authorized by the multi-millionaires now running our government, who only care about members of their own class. Now, I pressed the head of FEMA for answers at a hearing this year. You know what he said? He said he wants to work with us. Well, shocker, there's been radio silence from FEMA ever since. Our questions have gone unanswered. That's why today I am sending a bipartisan letter, Democrats and Republicans, calling once again for simple answers as to how this proposal will affect our constituents. Because guess what? Revamping, overhauling a critical program like flood insurance behind closed doors with no accountability is absolutely unacceptable. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how government works in the 21st century, and it's got to stop. Doesn't matter whether it was the financial crisis, behind closed doors decisions to bail out bankers and not bail out hardworking Americans. Over and over and over again. Decisions to continue never-ending wars behind closed doors does not involve the people. Well, we call on this type of government to end today. Because FEMA, all they've done publicly to date is release 2 pages of information and refuse to respond to our requests for more information. Now, because they're keeping us all in the dark, I can't say for sure that FEMA is screwing us. But from where I'm standing, it looks like we are about to get screwed. So first, FEMA screwed us in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy, and now they are planning to screw us over all over again. Well, over our dead body, it's not happening. I will not stand for that. The residents of Staten Island, this great borough, the residents of South Brooklyn, people across the United States of America, we will not stand for that. So until FEMA is transparent, until they show us that they are not going to leave us financially underwater, I'm going to do everything in my power to ensure that Staten Island and South Brooklyn are protected from this bureaucratic hat job directed at our community. So here's what we do know right now. 1, people in high flood risk areas are going to pay more in flood insurance premiums than they do right now. And families who were previously grandfathered under the last policy into lower rates because they built their homes in areas without understanding or knowing the underlying risk, well, they're going to have those protections taken away as well. 2, property owners, their premiums are not only going to be tied to coastal flooding, like that which we experienced in Superstorm Sandy, but also rainfall, water runoff, and other causes of flooding. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone who understands life on Staten Island these days, this is just rich, because we have seen the damage rain does when coupled with Staten Island's decrepit storm drains and sewage water systems. You know, let's put this for a moment into the broader context of things, okay? Our infrastructure on Staten Island has been ignored for generations. As a consequence, when it just rains a couple of inches, it looks like a tsunami hit our communities. And now you're gonna layer higher insurance rates on our backs because over and over again government has failed us? Why must we be the victims of incompetence and ignorance and ineptitude at every level of government? Why must that happen to us? Well, not anymore. Staten Islanders work hard just trying to get by. They are deserving of so much more. Anywhere else, the floods that we face here would be considered a natural disaster. Now here, it's just business as usual. You know what we're told? We're told call 311. I guarantee you, if City Hall had even a puddle in their lobby, you'd have a team from DEP out there draining it within minutes. But on Staten Island, well, 311's an excuse for the city not to do its job. It's ridiculous. Staten Island's not asking for much here. Just a little financial stability, a little peace of mind, and for government to do its damn job. That's not what we're getting from FEMA, though. We're getting a plan that's going to upend the lives of homeowners, a plan that's being drafted behind closed doors without accessibility even to members of Congress. Just imagine this, if FEMA is shafting Congress, imagine what they are doing to hard-working Americans that can't afford a lobbyist. If you own property in Staten Island, you could see your premiums going up each year. And it's only when the bill comes are you going to know how much you end up paying. You know, we have a cap on this right now, 18%, but you layer that year after year after year, you could see premiums doubling within less than 5 years. So, to close things out, we have made so much progress here. We're turning the page. We're building a seawall along the east shore of Staten Island, right where you all stand right now. We're forcing the city, forcing the state to finally pay attention to our transportation woes. We cannot take one step forward and 2 steps back, and that is why today we resoundingly call on FEMA to include us in this process and to not continue this tradition of ripping us off. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out, and I invite anyone else behind me to speak.
Thank you, Max Rose, Congressman Max Rose. We appreciate you coming out here and standing up for us, both Staten Islanders and on the East Shore here, South Beach area. This is something here that's been going on for years. We need to have some kind of transparency. It's imperative that somebody, do something about this and stand up for us. That's why Congressman Max Rose, we really do appreciate you coming out. And hopefully the homeowners here, people trying to purchase houses today, their mortgages are not accepting any payouts, or even for people that want to sell their houses, they can't even sell their house because of the issue of the mortgage, of the flood insurance that people have to have in order to purchase a house. So there's something here that we need to have transparency with FEMA. And thank you for coming out and helping us.
What do you say?
Just get your name, please.
Joseph McAllister, President of the South Beach Civic Association. McAllister.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Any questions?
Congressman, in your position, what kind of steps can you take if FEMA has already made up its mind?
FEMA has not already made up its mind. So we're not continuing the long-held tradition of elected officials falling asleep at the wheel and only then kicking and screaming after a decision is made. That's partly why we're doing this today. So what we are looking to do is a few things. One is looking at the overall flood insurance program. We have to make sure that the cap is cut in half, that the potential for rate increases is cut in half on the existing program. But then we have to make sure that under this potentially new program, that communities just like this aren't ripped off. It is abjectly unfair. In addition, though, this process has to slow down. It has to become far more inclusive. It has to involve not only stakeholders, but also leaders from city government, state government, as well as Congress. And I am sure that we can figure out how to run a financially sustainable insurance program without driving hardworking middle-class people into poverty.
And what steps can Congress take to encourage that?
Well, you're seeing it right here in part. Certainly we're going to use the tools of oversight as well as the tools of the purse to make sure that FEMA does not do this. And let me just add as well, amidst this world that we live in right now, where it seems like even apple pie is subjected to bipartisan divisiveness, this is an issue that is bipartisan in nature. You look at a map, you see Democratic areas that are coastal, you see swing areas that are coastal, you see Republican areas that are coastal, and I assure you, no matter what they are, red, blue, or purple, nobody wants to see 20, 30, 40% increases. No one wants to see that. No one deserves that.
And just lastly, is FEMA they haven't interacted with your office at all in terms of you asking them to kind of work with you?
No, we tried to be polite. Now we're done with that stage. We're done with that stage. And they're not going to stop hearing from us. They're not going to stop hearing from members of Congress on both sides of the aisle until they sit down with us at the table.
All right, thanks everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.